We're going to talk to Colson. Colson, you stopped my Shakespeare here. Was it not good enough for you? Did you have to call in now? Come on, what's up, Colson?
Hi, Dan. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I was performing in the thespian arts and was interrupted by your call coming in. But I suppose I can put that behind me now. So what's up?
Well, I mean, it was great. I don't want to crap on that. It was great. But basically what I wanted to talk about was I found out recently that my brother has not been vaccinated. And that was a surprise because my parents, who I thought would be way less quick to get vaccinated, they got their vaccines in like January, which was awesome. And then I come to find out my brother all this time later has not been vaccinated. And he just doesn't want to do it. And I have a hard time even, like, I'm at the point where it's difficult for me to understand that position at all. And it's hard to, like, ignore it and talk about other stuff around him. So I'm wondering, I mean, do you have any family members or maybe close friends that are vaccine hesitant? Like, how do you broach that topic with them? I don't know, do you have any advice?
This is interesting because I did grow up in a very Christian family, and my extended family is Christian. But weird thing about my family is most people in my family and my extended family actually all work in healthcare, believe it or not. So when it came to claims about evolution, when it ever came to like crazy medical stuff, my parents and family have never believed in any of the nonsense stuff because like they just have that education and that background, which is really great. In fact, I have family who's been responding to the code blues when they have to take care of these COVID cases and stuff in these hospitals, so that they're very aware of the problem with the vaccine hesitancy. So thankfully, I haven't had to deal with that in my personal family. I have had to deal with that in my workplace. My workplace does not have a vaccine mandate policy, and they do have a mask policy, but it is not always enforced. So I have had some hesitancy there, and that's really awkward because it's a professional environment. And unfortunately, we've come to this place now where vaccines are now political, and talking politics at work isn't always a great idea. Really weird how this has become political. I mean, I guess it's always kind of been political, to be fair, but like not to the degree that we've been seeing recently, because like there's always been policies instituting vaccine regulations and what's required, what's not in places. So that's what I mean by there's a history there. I guess it's like, it's frustrating because I've witnessed firsthand on a visceral level how it's stressed out my own family because of the situation of people not getting vaccinated. So you can't transfer that kind of firsthand experience to other people. So what do you do? I guess the best thing is just asking people why they believe what they believe. What is their hesitancy coming from? Where would they draw the line with the vaccine being safe or not safe? And asking these kinds of questions to the root of that belief can kind of give you a path forward on sort of surveying and evaluating whether this belief is a good one to hold or not. So tell me about these conversations you've been having. Has it been just total denial that it works, or is it just you're not sure because they don't feel it's safe yet? What does that look like?
So far, it's mostly been just kind of avoiding the topic because so I don't live near my brother anymore. I moved across the country earlier this year, so I've only seen him a couple of times since then. Mostly on account of COVID, just not traveling as much. But it has been a very obvious silence, if that makes sense. Like it's clear that we're avoiding the subject. And the thing about my brother is that if you talk to him about something that you disagree, it's hard to have a conversation about something you disagree about with my brother. So yeah, I don't know. But this is such an important topic that I'm worried about. I mean, he's not vaccinated, right? He's more likely to get more sick and potentially get really hurt, so I'm worried about my brother. If it was just something that we disagreed about, maybe I just would never talk about it. But I don't know. I'm to the point where now I'm just worried about him more than anything. So I want to talk to him about it, but I don't know. Maybe I just need to buck up and do it.
It's weird because, okay, so like the reasoning I would say that it's important. Is that I agree with you there. It can be a matter of life and death. But like I could also see a Christian saying that about my salvation, and that's why they feel like they have to talk about it with me. You know what I'm saying? The difference, of course, being vaccines actually work, and there's measurable effects of that. Whereas my salvation is honestly up to debate right now because, according to some traditions, because I've been baptized, I'm good. But because I don't believe anymore, that's a problem. So, there's a conversation to be had there. But the point is, you have a valid health concern that's like not only valid, like the most valid thing out there right now in terms of health concerns, right? Like vaccines are super, super important right now. And we definitely want to encourage as many people as we can to get. So I think you're well within your right to talk to your family about it, because they are putting actively not just themselves at harm's way, but also other people potentially. And so that's a conversation worth having for sure. So I would say you should feel encouraged to have it, if only for that reason, right? That it's not just about him and what he does with his life, but also the people around him. And that because he's a family member, like you have the best opportunity to talk to more than most people on earth. If I talk to your brother, what the hell is he going to care about my opinion on things? He doesn't know me. But if you know him, then there's a difference there. And talking to your family about this stuff, while it can be nerve-wracking, also can give you insight that you otherwise wouldn't have. So I would say, like, I would just throw it out as a concern and just say, hey, I've been really interested in this situation with the vaccines, and I know that you haven't gotten it yet, and I'm just wondering, what is your reasoning there? Can't we talk about it? Just for my sake, that you can at least, rid of your conscience this thought that, well, am I not doing enough? If you've at least talked to him and you've tried your best, then you can at least say that you've done something about it. And there's the potential there that a mind could be changed, otherwise you don't know. So it's like you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right? That's Michael Scott quoting Wayne Gretzky, of course.
Of course. I think that's good advice. It's actually something you said, reminded me of something, rang a bell. You said that with Christians, it's sort of like, it's about your eternal soul, so it's urgent for them. Although, of course, with the vaccines, we have evidence. But It reminded me of something Penn Jillette said. Of course, he's an atheist, but he made the point that if you really believe that someone not believing in your religion meant that they were going to spend eternity in hell, I'm paraphrasing, of course, that you'd have to be some kind of asshole not to talk to people about it, right? Not to proselytize, which makes sense. Of course, if your beliefs aren't founded on any evidence, then maybe not. But anyway, I guess what I'm saying is, I mean, if I really am worried about my brother, then I really should have the conversation. So yeah, I appreciate the encouragement. I guess that's all I really had to ask. I just needed someone to tell me to go do it, actually.
Yeah, go do it, Colson. This is me telling you, go do it. Absolutely. And yes, like, I think I like bringing that up because it's a great point to be made, right? Like, people wonder, why do people spend their time going out on the street talking about this stuff? It's because they actually believe you are going to be eternally tortured unless you listen to them. So in that mind, like, of course they're going to do what they think is most ethical, which is give you this information that's going to prevent that. And in a similar sense, we're doing the same thing. Again, the difference being, vaccines are real, right? Salvation, probably not, at least not the Christian one. But that's neither here nor there. The point is, you do have an ability more so than other people to make that change to happen. So I would say, yes, go for it. And that's for anybody that's hesitant to talk about families, because at worst, people know what you really think about things, and I don't think that's so bad anymore. As I'm becoming a little older and coming from young adult to just regular adult, I find that I'm finding more confidence in talking about my own beliefs to my family and stuff. It's weird because it's easy to talk to strangers on the internet every week than it is to talk to my own family about this stuff sometimes. But I do think there is an important, if not obligation, there to at least can let them consider the possibility that they could be wrong, and give them that avenue to get out of that. Not to shame them necessarily, but to give them a path forward to where they can kind of change their minds on things. Because right now, this issue is super mired in politics. And the more that we argue about it in unproductive ways, I think the more we're going to find people are going to be really set in stone on these things and not willing to change their minds. So I'm glad I could help at least even a little bit there, Colson. Thanks again for your call. Fun stuff tonight when we're talking about talking to families. It's always super fun, right? Yeah, it's interesting to see just people's reactions when we talk about vaccines. How weird it is that everybody has an opinion on it now when 5 years ago nobody had. I mean, some people had opinions on mandates in schools, but it just wasn't an issue. I don't know. It really wasn't. It wasn't in people's minds as much.